What's up, everyone? So today we're going to be going over how to run an appointment setting call. Okay, I think I've given you guys a video on like the framework of an appointment setting call, but I'm going to break it down for you guys from top to bottom. So first thing, really appointment setting calls are just mini consultations, and that's why I think it's beneficial for a lot of people to start off as an appointment setter in the high ticket sales industry, because you get a lot of mini consultations, you get a lot more at bats than you would as a closer, right? Because you're calling like 100 people a day minimum, at least 8 of them are going to answer, or 12, 10, 12, 8, whatever. And then as a closer, you're only going to get like 3 or 4 calls. Maybe you might get 8 people that schedule on your calendar, but at the end of the day, really, like, there's going to be like 1 no-show, 1 reschedule, 1's going to be a bad lead. So my point being is you get a lot more at bats. So it's always going to start off with a little bit of context, right? So one of the things I learned, I've always been doing this, but I learned about this concept from somebody just recently, Mike Mark, is the long lost friend principle. So before I dive into concept, the long lost friend principle. So LLFP, what is this? So it's the saying where you see your long lost friend in the grocery store and you're like, "Hey, John," and they're like, even though they don't know you, they're like, "Hey," they respond a little bit better. So on the phone when I call people, I'm like, "Hey," and then they're like, "Hello," and I'm like, "Hey, it's Daniel." Even if they have no idea who I am, I'm saying, "Hey, it's Daniel," and they're like, "Oh, Daniel from what?" And then I'll dive into context, okay? And then what I'll do is I'll ask them if they're still interested in whatever it is they opted in for, because in high ticket sales, you're not calling cold leads, you're calling people that already opted in. So I'll see if they're still interested. Okay, that's the next step. And if they are, then I'll dive into my framework. So if they say, "Yes, I'm interested," then I dive into framework. Okay? And my framework is typically something like, "Hey, I've only got about 10 minutes. That way I diffuse the pressure of them being on the phone with me for a long time." And then I'll dive into a little bit of, I'll go like this. "Hey, I only got about 10 minutes, but I'd like to see if we're the best team to work with, or, if I could send you some free training to help you get to some of your goals in regards to whatever they were interested in." Make sense? And then they're like, "Okay, yeah, for sure," because nobody ever says no to free training. And then I'll dive into goal and problem. So this is the thing, is like, you want to create a gap between where they are and where they want to be. So gap, right? So typically speaking, if it's a business opportunity, like let's say, for me, I'm selling a course on high ticket sales. So like, first I got to be sure they're sold on the actual opportunity first. And if they're not, then I'm going to find out what their goal is first, right? But if it's, a business owner where they know they have a problem and they've specifically got your ebook, which is a solution to a specific problem, then you're going to go to this first, right? So BizOp, goals first. These are typically going to be B2B first, okay? But it doesn't really matter. Like, you're going to go back and forth based on the conversation, but typically speaking, you want to start creating a gap between where they are and where they want to be, and you're going to have different discovery questions for every type of sale. And then after that, once I find something really worth solving, I don't want to dive too deep into it. As long as I find out it's like very important for them to fix that, usually I'll ask a question about the cost of inaction or something, and I'll be like if it's a problem, I'll be like, "Well, okay, so how much is that costing you guys every month?" And they're usually like, "Oh, a ton of money." "Okay, so how much would a solution to that be?" And then they'll tell you, "Oh yeah, you're good. That's worth a lot of money." And then once I get them to admit that, I'm like, "Okay, cool. Well, look, I got some free training I can send you. but I also want to partner you up with our advisor. So this is where you pitch. Ooh. Okay, this is where I pitch. But I want to partner you up with our advisor because a lot of our clients are actually doing what you do. We eat these problems for breakfast. We can help you get to this. Whatever it is your pitch is, like whatever your pitch is, you know, you pitch it right there and you're like, and we're gonna share that stuff with you on the next call. We're gonna give you that on the next call. So you wanna offer them value on that next call, and that's gonna be a miracle for you, because if you offer them value, your show rate's gonna increase. And then there's a few different things that I do after, you know, I lock in a time. So I always pick 2 times. I pick 2 times, then I make sure they're in a quiet place, and I tell them, hey, if there's any, like I used to say, if you can't make it to the call, we can't reschedule you. But now I say instead, hey, if there's any reason you need to reschedule, will you be sure to let us know? And that usually is like way more respectful and less like outward pressure, and that way, people are at least respectful of your time. So then I tell them, I try to reduce no-show, and you can use whatever strategy. Okay guys, so this is how you run an appointment setting call. All right, and I'll give you guys the document which explains this in detail below this video.